Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Steve with Sensus Fidelium coming at you at 9:47 p.m., October 14th, 2025, in the year of our Lord. What is the feast day today? Pope St. Calixtus the First. I thought about putting, like, usually I try to do something like Saint of the Days on the app. If you have the Sensus Fidelium app, I'll send a push notification of quotes of the saint, quote of the day by the saint. I don't know if there's anybody Calixtus. So if you haven't gotten an alert, that's why right now. Even though sometimes you just really can't, like Our Lady of the Pillar wasn't really like a big quote for that, or sometimes I'll just send a random one. But yeah, Saint Calixtus, there wasn't. I'll look and see again, but I haven't found any yet. Anyway, I hope you all doing well. Thank you, whenever, wherever you are. Flower Leaf is going to be in and out getting the kids to bed. Mine just went in bed. Hopefully they'll stay in bed. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch is in right now. Well, I'm sure others will show up throughout the next half hour or so. Let's get started. Where are we at? Iran. Yes, Iran. Iran opens the new Holy Virgin Mary metro station in Tehran. The subway is filled with Christian symbols. There you go. See right there. Now they've mentioned that there was a I just went stupid. There's a big church nearby. Was it the Armenians are nearby? I think it is. Anyway, here's what the Jews do to the Christian churches. They accidentally shoot them. So yeah, that is quite lovely right there, isn't it? That is great. That is fantastic. Hometown Isfahan, Iran. That is amazing looking, huh? We can't make those here now, can we? We get mostly whitewashed churches. Even the traditional churches are mostly that way. I mean, the ICK actually asked for pretty churches. They pretty much demand it. But it's just saying. I mean, we need to get some better painters in our areas. Majority supports social media ban for children. Australia passed a social media ban for teenagers and children under the age of 16 in December, which applies to companies including Instagram, X, and TikTok. The measure is intended to reduce the social harm done to young Australians and is set to come into force on December 10th, 2025. Tech giants will be up against fines of up to $48.5 million, $31 trillion, equal to $31 trillion, if they do not adhere to the rules. Critics could also argue that it could push children towards less regulated areas of the internet. And other people have said if people would just start being parents again, that they wouldn't get on these things. I mean, they just don't, randomly pick up a cell phone and get a package quite randomly. It's not like, Santa Claus comes down with an iPhone 28 underneath the Christmas tree and it automatically has a plan on there. The parents actually have to get them the device or give them the password to get on the computer or let them do things or an iPad, whatever, and they do their own thing. If parents would just be parents, I don't know, teach them checkers. My 7-year-old's pretty good at chess right now. He gets mad, upset. He gets upset if he can't beat me. He hasn't beat me yet. But of course, for a 7-year-old that just picked up chess in the last month, he shouldn't. But I mean, they like stuff like Tetris. We got it. There's a board game of Tetris. It's pretty fun actually. I like the video game of it, but the board game of Tetris is not bad. NATO, I was going to say NASA. NATO's Steadfast Noon nuclear drills kick off as tensions soar with Russia. NATO has kicked off its annual nuclear exercise, Steadfast Noon, on Monday, which is focusing mainly on securing its nuclear weapons before deployment, according to prior statements of the alliance's chief. Quote, we carry out this training to ensure our nuclear deterrent remains credible, safe, secure, and effective. Safe and effective. NATO Secretary General Matt Rudd said of the 2-week-long drills. It also sends a clear message to any potential adversary that we are fully capable of defending all allies against any threat. Sure. Tennessee man arrested gets $2 million bond for posting a Facebook meme. You read that right? That was Tennessee man, $2 million bond for posting a Facebook meme. That stuff happened in England the last month or two. After the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk in September, many on the political right set to punish anyone making light of the tragedy or even simply being insufficiently upset. In one of the most brazen examples, a Tennessee man was arrested, accused of threatening a school shooting, and held on a $2 million bond for posting a somewhat uncivil meme on Facebook. Larry Bouchard, a 61-year-old former police officer, posted the offending meme last month. In response to a Facebook post about the upcoming vigil for Kirk, Bouchard shared an image of President DJT with the quote, "We have to get over it," which Trump said in January 2024 after a shooting in Iowa's Perry High School. Text added to the image said, "This seems relevant today." He did say, but the context is clear. Yeah, he saw that the image was one of several that Bouchard posted and was far from the most offensive. Still, it certainly feels crass as people mourn a brutal public murder. Bouchard snidely used the occasion to make a partisan political point. Not like the other team, everybody does that. They all do it. But it's certainly, except for when you do it, you get $2 million in jail. But it's certainly well within the bounds of average social media discourse, and you certainly wouldn't expect it to bring attention to the local police. Received a visit from Lexington PD regarding my posted memes, Bouchard wrote in a September 21st Facebook status. According to Sheriff Nick Weems of nearby Perry County, numerous teachers, parents, and students somehow interpreted Bouchard's meme with its citation in fine print above about a previous school shooting at Perry. They thought that he was going to carry a man. People be careful what you post online because people are not smart enough to figure out what anything means. Not saying, go ahead and post something on that, make fun or light of a situation, but to post that and then to come up with the idea that he's going to shoot up a school because of that, man, and then you get arrested for it. This is just too much, as Dave DeCamp from antiwar.com says. This is Trump's current and former U.S. ambassadors to Israel, Mike Huckabee, who's the Zionist of Zionists, and David Friedman performed a rendition of Sweet Home Alabama in Israel titled Sweet Home Yerushalayim. The lyrics were changed to push for greater Israel. If you haven't clicked to listen to that, please don't. It is blood curling. Your ears will bleed. Mine just stopped literally 20 minutes ago. Your ears will bleed if you hear it. I mean, they took a great song from Dixie and destroyed it. It's that bad. And it's almost like some guy just got out of the bathroom and thought he was going to do some karaoke and started singing. It's that level horrible. And then you add the lyrics in there. It's almost like they went, "Hey, can we get any more cringe?" And then go, here, hold my beer. I'm going to unleash a cringe that the world has never seen before. And even he goes a couple times going, "I thought this was a joke. I thought I dreamt this. It's that bad." Speaking of which, let's see what antiwar.com says. We're talking about Dave. The IDF kills at least 7 Gazans despite ceasefire. Ceasefire, yeah, whatever, just kill less. It's like that Onion post the other day. They're just going to kill less. Israel violates ceasefire deal by having aid entering Gaza. By cutting in half aid entering Gaza. Israel has used U.S. weapons very well. Remember, he talked about yesterday being a part of the genocide. 3 Palestinian children injured by unexploded ordnance in Gaza. Hamas received approval to conduct security ops, and the IDF torched food, homes, sewage plant after truce announcement. We saw that yesterday. Trump and Zelensky discussed Tomahawks that yesterday. All the other ones were yesterday's news as well. Nothing really new under the sun. Netherlands, Ukraine to jointly produce deep strike drones. UK quietly hosts talks on Gaza reconstruction. And if you're any familiar with how reconstruction happened in the South after the war for Southern independence. Get ready for something that's going to be horrific. I mean, the U.S. government starved, put in a new government that they couldn't vote for. Everything that they're doing to Gaza is the same playbook that they did almost to the T. They're having an outside government come in, Blair. Gazans are not going to be involved. They're going to call anybody that's in Gaza is called Hamas. Just anybody sees what the posts are. That's how they see it. So nobody in Gaza is going to be able to be in government. It's going to be carpetbaggers the whole time. They're going to starve them, get rid of them, and make an ethnic cleansing out of them. The exact same thing that went down in the South in Reconstruction. It's going to be horrific. Don't worry, we got another post on that here soon. Here is Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado, a U.S.-funded far-right coup leader, vowed to privatize Venezuela's oil and give it to U.S. corporations. Quote, "We are going to privatize all our industries," she told DJT Jr. U.S. companies, quote, "are going to make a lot of money," she said. Remember, this is the Zionist of Venezuela that's going after her own government to give up the own oil that Maduro has, to get rid of Maduro so she can come in and take over, and it'd be a nice little alliance back and forth. That's your Nobel Peace Prize winner. Who's a Trump-backed Venezuela coup leader, promises to give oil, but all the oil of the U.S. Trump says, if Hamas does not disarm, we will disarm them, and it will happen quickly and perhaps violently, but they will disarm. Do you understand me? In translation, do as I say, or I will kill you all. So, I mean, the President Peace pretty much threatening them to disarm or die. Again, they know if here's what's going to happen. So everyone over there is going to disarm. They're going to blow up the tunnels. They're going to give up their arms. They're going to have nothing to defend themselves. The only quote unquote chip they had was any hostage that they had. What's Israel going to do? What's to stop Israel from coming in and destroying them all afterwards? They're already disarmed. They're talking about already getting rid of their hiding, blowing up their tunnels and hiding spots. Anything of their base. Trump says it's now time to reconstruct Gaza after he destroyed it. It's now time to reconstruct it in his image and likeness. Guys, it's going to get ugly. Here is Mark Levin demands that Trump's peace plan must now be used to wipe out all of Israel's enemies immediately. He says this must be done to protect the U.S. and wants Islamic terror taken out all over the world. He says every method must be used, including starving people or using the military. Remember, you have Rupert Murdoch is a Zionist himself. Again, that's why you saw when like Tucker and all those guys had to leave, then they're free to actually say anything. And remember, that's why I had yesterday the Eighth Front campaign, the front war that they're doing. And here was Mark Levin all the way down here. Where was he at? There he is right here. The Visionary Leadership Assembly, Fighting Terror and Demonization. Simultaneously, on September 28th, the Israel lobby-funded propaganda outlet Jewish Network Syndicate, JNS, hosted a conference in New York titled Confronting Terror and Defending Israel, JNS Visionary Leadership Assembly. Meeting attendees included members of the CCPI, and the topic of discussion was supporting and implementing Israel's Eighth Front War on Information in America as a private and government partnership. Speakers included Bibi Netanyahu, Mark Levin. All Americans are new Palestinians. I can't read. Are Americans the new Palestinians? September 29, 2025. Netanyahu announced Israeli intel is live streaming his UN speech to track cell phones in Palestinians in Gaza. Remember, we talked about that last week. September 27, 2025, Israel launched the largest geofencing of cell phones and targeted Christian campaign ever in the United States. Remember we talked about last time. So once Israel has geofenced and tracked cell phones of Christian churchgoers and students at Christian churches, mostly all these are probably evangelical ones, what prevents Israeli intelligence from tapping those phones similar to Palestinians? Here's the link to the full speech. Netanyahu's cell phone tracking and broadcast announcement starts at the 12:30 mark. Then Yahoo says UN speech broadcast on cell phones, loudspeakers in Gaza. So yeah, eventually they'll be able to just live stream through the phone, speak through the phone. Your phone will have Benny Netanyahu on the other side. Breaking: Israel broke the ceasefire on Tuesday with multiple attacks across Gaza. Israeli occupation forces broke the ceasefire on Tuesday with multiple attacks. Open fire, killing 5 Palestinians in the Shujaya neighborhood of Gaza City. Conducted a drone strike in Khan Yunis, killing at least 1 and injuring multiple. Bombed north of Gaza City and injuring multiple Palestinians. This comes after Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz posted a social media stating that he had, quote, instructed the IDF to prepare for carrying out the mission of demilitarizing Gaza and neutralizing Hamas of its weapons, following the release of those being held in Gaza. Additionally, Israel's Channel 13 News reported on Tuesday that the Israeli regime says it is now to keep the Rafah crossing closed and significantly reduce humanitarian aid by half in response to Hamas's difficulty in locating the bodies of 4 deceased individuals to turn over to Israel. Oh, water is also wet. Everyone knew that they were going to do something, and see how long it keeps it going. Israel violates ceasefire with deadly attacks on Palestinians in Gaza. Just in case you thought, oh, well, it's just a Twitter post. 9 Palestinians were killed less than 24 hours after U.S. and Arab states signed the ceasefire deal in Sham al-Sheikh. Notice no Palestinians signed anything. Trump hosts Don't Cry For Me, Argentina leader as U.S. moves ahead with bailout. Oh, they're going to get a bailout, aren't they? President Javier Milei visited the White House on Tuesday after the Trump administration agreed to provide Argentina a $20 billion lifeline. How's that? Have you got any? How's those Doge checks? Did they? Not that we want them. Not that they're saying that you should get them, but I think they promised you Doge checks, $5,000 to everybody. Everyone's going to get $5,000. You bought that. You thought that was happening. No, Argentina's going to get 20 million. America first. You bought that America first thing. No, it's America last. Argentina's first. Argentina's second. Israel's first. Well, Ukraine's going for the top tier too, but they're like the redheaded stepchild. They're not number 1, but they're not third. But they kind of want to be number 2, but not really. Donald Trump plans to send Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine as NATO braces for World War III. U.S. President Donald Trump, which they misspelled, I don't know how, is set to meet with Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky. I'm sure Vladimir's messed up too, to discuss air defense and long-range capabilities. They're Pope Leo. I know you consecrated the world for down the 50th time. Can we try the Russia thing? Just test it out. Just say, we're not going to say Russia. Hey, we're going to say Russia. Just do it. Just work with me one time. Just say, if it doesn't work, then it's on Our Lady. How about that? Just say it. Just slip it in accidentally, like slip on a banana peel. Go, whoops, just we promised that we're and slip and say Russia and just fall on your back. Say, hey, I didn't know. I slipped and it just came out of my mouth. Anything. Just try it. U.S. government says we're all terrorists. Their website now says if you believe Western culture is under threat from mass migration and a lack of integration, you are a terrorist. I think that makes me a terrorist then. Are you a terrorist? As I saw a friend of mine post up, by now, if you're in the UK and aren't labeled a terrorist, what are you doing? Terrorist ideologies, extreme right wing culture, nationalism. Western culture is under threat from mass migration and you already heard it. White ethno-nationalism, mass migration from the non-white world, and demographic change poses an existential threat to the white race and Western culture. I mean, until recently, it was mostly all white. It was England. White supremacism, the white race is biologically, culturally, and spiritually superior to all the races. An alternative form of government ranging from the fascist regimes to ethno-tribalism should replace Western parliamentary democracy. Is that really a thing in UK? Now, I know everyone likes that Tommy Robinson guy. The guy's got some issues. There's people over there like, hey, that Tommy guy. No, the guy he's like an op. He's a psyop inside that thing. Last American Vagabond's been covering that for a while. Who else? I think Spiro's talked about that quite often too. And there's quite a few in the alt media that's called out saying, "Hey man, you guys got to chill out on this Robinson dude." Yeah, candlesticks. The Russians aren't playing. No, they are not playing. It's that blank around and find out type deal. Yeah, they are not playing, and they if they wanted to get rid of Ukraine, they'd get rid of it already. Mel Gibson's Resurrection of the Christ finds new Jesus and Mary Magdalene in Yako Otonin and Mariella Garriga reveals main cast. Mel Gibson is long delayed as follow-up to the 2004's Passion of the Christ, like most movies that happened long before, like Top Gun came out in the 80s and Part 2 came out a couple months ago. Part 3 should come out any minute now. See if Mel does that with Part 3. We're going to bust out a Part 3 next month. Shooting starts next week in rooms since Sita Studios on the film and his main ensemble haven't been entirely recast. More than 20 years ago, Gibson shot the original, the same location, which became one of the largest grossing films, blah, 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 blah. Let's see if there's anything worth saying. Peter's being played by Italy's Pier Luigi Pacino, who stars in the Netflix Italy original The Law According to Lydia Poet. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that. Pontius Pilate role, another guy, Johnny Depp, direct Biomed Bodhi. Because of the time frame in which this takes place, 3 days after Christ's crucifixion on Good Friday, it made sense to recast the whole film. They would have to do all this CGI stuff, all this digital stuff, de-aging and all that. That would have been very costly. Yeah, I guess they would have Caviezel look like he's 20 years difference, and then make him 3 days later. In April, the 57-year-old Caviezel had suggested on the Arroyo Grande podcast that he was ready to reprise his career-defining role as Jesus in the follow-up. I mean, nobody's gonna. I mean, it's gonna. That's gonna make. I mean, we mentioned it a couple of days ago or last week, and people are like, no, you're reading a fake news site. It's real. ICE's use of full-body restraints during deportations raises concerns over inhumane treatment. Okay. That's a demobilizer right there. U.S. immigration officers have been using a full-body restraint device called the WRAP during deportations. That continued despite concerns about safety from a watchdog division of its parent agency, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. The Nigerian man described being roused with other detainees in September. In the middle of the night, U.S. ICE officers clapped shackles on their hands and feet, he said, and told them they were being sent to Ghana, even though none of them were from there. When they were asked to speak to their attorney, he said the officers refused and straitjacketed the already shackled men in a full-body restraint suits called the WRAP, then loaded them onto a plane for a 16-hour flight to West Africa. Referred to as the burrito or the bag, it's almost like The Onion wrote this. The WRAP has become a harrowing part of deportations for some immigrants. It was like a kidnapping, the Nigerian man, who is part of a federal lawsuit, told the AP in an interview from a detainment camp in which he and other deportees were being held in Ghana. Like others placed in restraints interviewed by the AP, he spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of reprisals. I guess so. See, this goes into what the Holy Father posted a tweet about using humane. Remember about being humane to each other, and I mentioned it put it on Twitter myself, and people got on me about it. I go, no. Catherine Austin Fitz even brought this up, saying that hey, we're not against getting rid of illegals, but when you start doing this stuff, you start losing the people that had you backed up, going, whoa, 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 time out. They're not dogs, you know. If you're upset about somebody that kills somebody, like this one guy got on me and said, well, this lady, she deserved better. Did every person that is getting arrested a killer? No, that's an insane mentality. Now we're looking at, again, communists need to use for this versus that. They need Christ. They need fight. They need it because they're over there and they got you doing this to each other. So these guys are pulling the strings for you to be mad and this and that. Get your neighbor. Oh, that guy's a bad person. While they are sitting pretty, controlling all hey, let's make them get mad to each other today. We should do this. It's a communist playbook straight out of Marx right there. And they're doing it to us every day. And you see it. You're this team or that team. And if you say anything bad about your own team, you're an excommunicated heretic. This is the new religion. We have to treat each other like dogs or cattle just because that's the political side. I mean, again, if you want to deport somebody for being illegal, deport them. Do you think put them in a burrito, wrap them up and put them in constraints and send them into Ghana where they're not from Ghana? That's the way to go. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Did you vote for that? He's like, hey, all right, we have an illegal from Nicaragua. What is the right thing to do? All right, we put him on a plane, shove him back to Nicaragua. Or do you put him into a burrito strap constraint, put him on a trip to Ghana, whether they are or not illegal, they have no due process or anything. And when they ask for the law, you say, yeah, no. That's how we've gotten to so far now, and people are apparently okay with it. ICE, baby. ICE tickets, Chicago man with legal residency, $150 for not having his papers on him. It's not fair. I'm a resident. And you see my papers, please. Ruben Antonio Cruz was sitting with a friend at Rogers Park when ICE agents pulled up onto the street. The immigration officer stopped their truck and went straight after them Thursday, Cruz told the Tribune. They asked us if we had papers. I said, I do, but I don't have them on me. Cruz, a 60-year-old man with heart problems, originally from El Salvador, recalled in Spanish. The agents stood Cruz up, put him in their truck, drove him around in circles, and asked questions. Where was he born? What is his name? Who is his mother? Who is your father? I told them they are dead. The agents said they needed the information anyway, so they could look him up in the databases. Eventually, the agents verified that he is, in fact, legally in the country, and they let him go. But not before writing him a $130 ticket for not having his papers. Cruz's friend, who is homeless, did not have legal status and was taken away by the feds. Under federal law, registered foreign nationals must carry proof of registration with them at all times. But prior to the second Trump administration, it was rarely enforced. As President DJT escalates the immigration crackdown in Chicago and the suburbs, Operation Midway Blitz, agents are using broad federal authority when targeting suspected immigrants, legal experts say. I mean, how many people think about carrying their driver's license with them all day long? I mean, sometimes I'll go, definitely if we go walking in a neighborhood, I don't take my ID with me. Or anything. Hey, you got your papers? No, I don't have my papers. What? It's kind of like South Park. I thought we were in America. Yeah, I'm going out there to talk to a friend at the chessboard, and you got to make sure you got your documentation with you. I guess you got to do it now. This is the times we live in. Satellites are leaking the world's secrets, calls, texts, military, and corporate data. With just $800 in basic equipment, researchers found a stunning variety of data, including thousands of T-Mobile users' calls and texts, and even U.S. military communications sent by satellites unencrypted. 6 killed after U.S. strikes another boat off the coast of Venezuela. This happened a couple hours ago. By the way, the link underneath the video, if you're on YouTube, is the link that has all the show notes on there. So if you want any of these links, go to there, click on it. You'll show everything in order. excuse me, the U.S. military conducted yet another strike on a boat alleged to be trafficking drugs off the coast of Venezuela, killing 6 people on board. President DJT announced on Tuesday. Again, no evidence. They saw a boat and they blew it up. Trump said the vessel was affiliated with the designated terrorist organization. How they know that? They don't. But did not name any organization or provide evidence to back up the assertion. Intelligence confirmed the vehicle was trafficking narcotics, just because they say it, was associated with illicit narco-terrorist networks. They can tell about anyone, and we're good to go. And was transitioning along the known DTO route, Trump said on his True Social platform. The strike was conducted in international waters, where they have no authority for, and 6 male narco-terrorists aboard the vessel were killed in the strike. No U.S. forces were harmed. This is the 5th time the U.S. has announced such a strike. The Pentagon announced another strike in early October. Yeah, that's a fishing boat. They're the one that they had, and it said it was like 10,000 pounds of coke or something was on it. You need like 2 semis to do that. U.S. Air Force's nuclear-ready bomber spotted over Texas on secret mission. The U.S. Air Force nuclear-capable B-52H Stratofortress has been spotted flying over Texas, raising questions about the purpose of the high-profile flight. Flight tracking data showed a long-range subsonic strategic bomber departed from Shreveport, Louisiana at 1:18 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, soaring up through Arkansas into Oklahoma, and now flying through Texas. The Space Safe Secretary, Pete Hegseth, built his career on Fox News mocking snowflakes. Now status has learned his former employer and others are rejecting his efforts to build a safe space around the Pentagon. You gotta plug in to do it. Sorry. Wall Street Journal, soon you'll be able to shop Walmart in ChatGPT. Here's why it matters. Retail giant signals that online shopping is about to change. How is forming a partnership with OpenAI, Sam Altman, to let shoppers buy its products directly within ChatGPT and the AI chatbot. It is a signal by the biggest U.S. retailer that online shopping is going to become a totally different experience from the retail websites we are all used to. For years, shoppers used the search bar and browsed a long list of items. That's about to change. What's happening within the next few months, US-based ChatGPT users will be able to instantly buy Walmart products directly in ChatGPT. The products will include nearly everything available on Walmart's website except for fresh food. And Walmart Plus members will still get their benefits such as free shipping when making purchases through the ChatGPT. Yeah. Well, I guess they have to do this because Amazon is now doing their thing. So it's Walmart versus Amazon for cage match. Recession warnings, signs to watch. Goodbye lipstick. Hello, hamburger helper. Though Coachella's lineup dropping months earlier than its usual release isn't actually an indicator for an impending recession, but on the absence of official government data, social media users are casting about for hints, even music festival related ones, about the true state of American economy. Here are some warning signs experts say to watch for. Cardboard box production down 5%. I'll continue reading. Hamburger helper is back, up 14.5%. Sales of big trucks are slumping, down 14.6%. Thrifting is in, up 40% at thrift stores. No more job hunting, 63% down of Americans say it's a bad time to find a job. Home equity loans up, residential building permits down, 12% up in equity loans. That's all for that. Okay, that's protein is showing up in Doritos, waffles, and now even Pop-Tarts. The protein craze that turbocharged energy bars and meat sticks is now coming for sugar frosted Pop-Tarts. No Hot Pockets. Starting in early November, Pop-Tart maker Cananova will offer a version of the sprinkled strewn toaster pastries that's pretty much nuclear in a microwave. with the kind of higher protein content reserved for what are typically considered healthier foods. This follows PepsiCo's the Puppy Co. from Boss Baby. PepsiCo's Inc.'s plans for a higher protein version of Doritos. Elsewhere, protein is being added to popcorn, pasta, bread, cookie dough, ice cream, and macaroni and cheese. The trend shows how packaged food companies are betting that protein can lure back shoppers who have moved away from highly processed products. Food companies say consumers are looking for some nutritional benefit even in foods that aren't considered healthy as they try to lose weight and ward off cravings. Many users of GLP-1s are also increasing their protein intake to help retain muscle mass. Pop-Tart. Average new car price tops $50,000 for the first time as Americans shift to EVs and luxury models. The expiration of the $7,500 EV tax credit helped spark record sales that reshaped September's pricing landscape. Bottom line, 5 years ago, the average new car cost roughly $40,000. The current average is now over $50,000. So, in other words, try to make your car work. The average EV sold for $58,124, up 3.5%. Oh, man. In weather, Alaska had a major typhoon hit them. Massive flooding after Typhoon Halong. Western Alaska is facing catastrophic flooding after remnants of Typhoon Halong slammed into the coast, destroying homes and displacing families. Floodwaters have risen up to 6 feet above normal high tide, fueled by hurricane-force winds reaching 100 miles an hour. Entire villages remain isolated as rescue teams. My bud Jack Crowley just texted me, a protein is cockroach meal. Cockroach-flavored Pop-Tarts. Hot Pockets. As rescue teams race to reach those trapped by the storm surge. Dozens have been rescued, 18 people in Kville, and 16 in Kubnuk. But at least 3 remain missing as search continues. A coastal flood warning remains in effect through Monday across much of western Alaska. Communities are struggling with power outages, damaged infrastructure, and limited communication as emergency crews work tirelessly to bring relief. Man. It's almost like, where's the ocean and where was their place? Just that was interesting to see what the manipulation was going on in Alaska. Now, since what is the state Agent Mock? Now, since the government shutdown, we haven't seen any geoengineering in the sky, any cloud, any chemtrails in the sky in 2 weeks. All the live chats are trashing the coaster version of Sweet Home Alabama. At least some people have some good taste. Yeah. This day in history, 1066, the Battle of Hastings. 2012, 2 days after arriving at LA International Airport, the space shuttle Endeavour reached its final destination. 2007, the reality TV shows Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered, and I have never seen one episode. Hopefully, you are in that same plan as I am. 1994, something, an 82-year-old novelist and 1988 winner of the Nobel Peace Prize for Literature, was stabbed by Islamic militants in Cairo, but survived. 1973, Prime Minister Thanom Kikakornam of Thailand was forced to step down following huge public demonstrations. 1964, Baptist minister and social activist Martin Luther King Jr., who's every street in these United States, if he's named after that street, you should hightail it off that street, was named the winner of the Nobel Prize for Peace, cited for his work involving civil rights and social justice. And I found out today, let me see if I can find her right there. When Jaru found this fast, I didn't know I was going to talk about that, but I remember seeing this from her today. Where is it at? Here it is right here. Did you know that MLK plagiarized his dream idea from a South Carolina Confederate who wrote about it in the Charleston Daily News in 1872? He spoke of his hope, which MLK later rendered as his own dream. This was revealed by Chad O. Johnson. Yeah, Jack actually, then he's in Asheville. No chemtrails, no rain for 13 days here in Asheville. Same thing. We ain't had any rain in 2 weeks either. I got to go out water the garden tomorrow. Make sure I threw some bone meal and blood meal on the corresponding, blood meals for one thing, bone meals for the other. So I got to see if make sure everybody's doing okay back there. Surely a better time is coming, a time when every man in South Carolina shall be measured by his conduct and character, not by his glibness of tongue or the color of his skin, when party lines shall only represent opposing theories of government, and every citizen, whichever side he espouses, shall insist that the candidates presented to him have active brains, some knowledge of public affairs, and a keen sense of honor. This is the hope in which we live, the hope which is the breath of the nostrils of the sturdy thousands who have never despaired of the commonwealth, the hope deferred which shall not much longer sting a struggling people. And why do we dare to say that the day is coming when South Carolina shall be governed with decency, with justice, and with ability? Well, I don't have the second part of the thing because, anyways, you saw it. That was pretty, it sounded just like the dream speech in a sense, except cooler. American test pilot Chuck Yeager became the first person to break the sound barrier in 1947. 1944, German Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox, ended his life by drinking poison following the discovery of his connection to a conspiracy to assassinate Adolf Hitler that was called Valkyrie, Operation Valkyrie. By the way, if you ever watched that, there was actually, they asked Catholic cardinals to make sure, because Klaus von Streichen was a Catholic dude. He wanted to go through just warfare to go through all that, and they checked off all the box. 1920 or 1936, during the Spanish Civil War, a first group of 500 trainees for the International Brigades arrived in Spain. 1926, English humorist A. Milne published Winnie the Pooh, which is now turned into a horrific horror series by some pathologic, demonic people who've turned that lovely character into a psychotic killer. 1908, Chicago Cubs beat the Detroit Tigers to win the team's second World Series championship. They did not claim their third title till around 2016, which I thought the world was about to end after they did that. 1806, French troops under Napoleon smashed the outdated Prussian army led by Charles Ferdinand in the Battle of Jena. In 1644, English Quaker leader and advocate of religious freedom, William Penn, whose Pennsylvania is named after, who oversaw the founding of the American Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, was born. We have any jokes of the day? I didn't even think about that. Joke of the day. Let's see what the joke of the day. Get anybody a laugh. Laugh Factory. There you are. It's the same ones. Nothing. Let's go with clean jokes today. Teacher, kids, what do your teacher get? What does the chicken give you? Student, meat. Teacher, very good. Now, what does the pig give you? Bacon. Teacher, great. And what does a fat cow give you? Student, homework. You guys have a great rest of the day. Check out the show notes underneath, sensusfidelium.tv for the app. There was something else I was going to say. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Oh, yeah, let me hit the button on that. There's the thing right there. Comment, blah, blah, blah. Share around to friends. Check out the show notes exactly. Have a great rest of the day. See you tomorrow, and have a great night.